Hey, how's it going, guys? My name's Colton. We're out here at Jordan Lake in North Carolina. I was out here today actually to watch a beautiful sunset, but I figured I would share with you guys a story, and there's no better place than beside the water to tell this story. So just to give you a quick little background, the story was in Emerald Isle, North Carolina. That's a very popular beach. Anybody from North Carolina would probably be familiar with it, but for anybody out of state, of course, you wouldn't. So this was at my friend's beach house. They had rented for the week. They do so every year, and I was lucky enough to go down there and share that experience with them. Unfortunately, this story happened, but it actually, I think it made me a better person. So the people that are involved in the story is my friend Sam, who I was down there with his family. His little brother Jack was there. Jack had a couple friends, Cody, Pedro, and Drew. They were there as well, and then Sam's sister, her name is Sarah, she was there too. So the only other person in the story is me. So what happened was this story takes place on the actual beach. So me, Sarah, Jack, Drew, Pedro, Sam, we were all out playing in the waves that day. So I'm actually going to read this to you so I don't get a little bit confused, but it all happened when we heard this word help. Help. Somebody was yelling help. Okay. So we had been out in the water for maybe 40-45 minutes. Everything seemed fine. We're just splashing around in the waves, you know, acting like children, even though this was actually 2 years ago. It took place in June of 2017. So everyone heard this word help being yelled, but it was like only me and Jack were the ones who heard it. So all I can remember though is my hesitation to go out and help this man. It was like there was a trick trying to pull us in. I hesitated, but Jack didn't. He was the only one who started swimming in the direction of this man. I don't know what made me hesitate, but then again I remembered, yes I do. I remember hesitating because I've never been the best swimmer. I was waiting maybe somebody else would go and maybe help him first, and actually Jack was that person. Jack actually gave me the confidence, I guess, to try and go with him to help this guy. So I remember feeling that inconfident, but this man, the only way I could describe him would be as grungy. Just an unattractive looking guy. I remember he had long, blondish brown hair, and he's swimming wearing a tank top. And so whenever I saw Jack swimming in the direction, I remember trying to get myself over to that direction. But I still had feelings of hesitation. I don't know how or what happened to that man, but all of a sudden, he was out of that rip current, and he walked up on the shore and he was bawling his eyes out. You could tell, you could just feel it. It was like he almost lost his life. I don't know if it was his girlfriend, friend, or wife, whatever. He was crying in her arms. It was really very intense moment. I don't know. I'd never seen anything like it, but I could feel his pain. So I don't know what it was, if it was the guilt that I felt for not going and helping this man, not trying my damnedest when I heard help the first time. But I don't know how I could resist the opportunity to try and save another human being, but I hesitated, and I hate that. So I don't know, I think it was my guilt. I looked at this man, and I just remember thinking in my head, I want to feel what he felt. And ask and you shall receive, because right after I said those words in my head, I felt what he felt, and I was in some crazy rip current. I don't know what to call it, but when it was something took over me. So next time I hear somebody yell help in the water, I'm gonna take it a little bit more serious. But that seemed to happen instantaneously. I was swallowed up in that same rip current. It doesn't matter what you call it, but not having control over your own destiny, I had to accept that. I told people over and over about this story, how I was in complete denial of the rip current at first. I kept telling myself that I wasn't in a rip current, but I also could not forget to mention to you guys that there was this one other man that was really odd about this situation. I was floating along, and I remember seeing this guy, and he just kind of smiled at me. And it was like a really, honestly, it feels like a dream right now talking about it, and it was kind of creepy because all I can remember is seeing that guy, and he disappeared. I never saw him again after this story. So, just side note. So, back to my denial. So, I kept saying that I wasn't in a rip current in my head. And Jack was the only one to seem to acknowledge the fact that I might be in some type of danger. Probably because he was closer to it, and he felt, he saw the reaction to that guy. So I'm there, sitting there, floating on my back, trying to fight it, still denying it. And then Jack, he's, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 yards away, he yells out, "Ask me if I'm okay." Yep, I'm okay. In my head, of course, I knew I wasn't okay. So still in the denial stage. Who knows how long it'd been at this point? I really don't know. But then I remember a few more minutes went by, and Jack asked me again, because I'm just sitting there, floating on my back, "Are you okay, man? Are you okay?" I knew I wasn't okay, but yep, I'm okay. I just knew that I didn't want anybody to come over and try and get caught in that same rip, whatever I was caught in. So I felt like it was that powerful. I felt like I just needed to be there on my own and get through it by myself. So I wasn't the only one though that was in the rip current. Actually, one of Jack's friends, Pedro, actually was in it too. I remember though, he was actually further out to sea, but he was swimming laterally like you're supposed to, which I knew about rip currents. I couldn't control anything, but I just remember seeing Pedro. He was swimming, he looked over at me, and I could see it on his face, and I could feel that he knew it was bad, and I could just feel that he was scared, and I knew I was too. So maybe it was just me scared, I don't know. But anyways, Pedro luckily got out of it. But I'm actually thankful that Jack was there, at least yelling. Like, it was good to know that they were so close, and that I could have yelled out to them if I really went under. But like I said, I didn't want anyone to come over and feel what I was feeling. So kept saying I was fine, even though I knew I wasn't. I had to get out of it alone. So after feeling what he felt, it wasn't until I accepted the fact that I was actually in a rip current until I was able to get out. Kept floating on my back, like I said, paddling, whatever. It was really everything I could take, everything I could do by the end to get out of this thing. So I just had to know that there's something bigger than us, and the feeling of knowing that there's something bigger than anything else. I had to accept that my uncle, who had passed away actually the month before this story took place, he was only 47, he passed away from cancer. I actually thought about him, and I don't know if it's coincidentally or not, but there's two words that Craig, my uncle, always used to say, and that's no fear. He always would say, live life with no fear. He said that up until his last day on earth, and I remember thinking about that when I was laying out there in the rip current. And those words could have never been more important than they were that day in my life. I just remember, yep, you're right, Unc, no fear. I don't care. There's no fear. And like I said, I don't know if it was coincidentally or what, but it was less than 30 seconds after thinking about my uncle that I finally found my footing. All of a sudden, I could finally dictate where I was going in the water for the first time since I got sucked into that rip current. So it was really powerful. I just remember when I came out of that water, I had an overwhelming feeling of gratitude, thankfulness to be alive, just to be on this planet. I got out of the water. I almost lost my breath there at the end, trying to tread water or whatever. So I was pretty exhausted physically, but I couldn't even control my leg when I got onto the sand. I was just fucking shaking. I was just had so much powerful energy going through me, and I don't know. That day, after that day, I felt like I could do anything, and I really felt what no fear means. And I just hope that maybe you'll live your life a little bit more free without that feeling of fear. Don't be scared of what anybody fucking thinks about you. Don't be scared of not knowing what you want to do. Don't be scared, because like Bob Marley says, that everything is going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right.